May 26, a federal high court in Abuja declared the former president Goodluck Jonathan to contest for the 2027 presidential election. They declared that he's eligible. The judge threw out the case, trying to stop him, dismissed the case and called it an abuse of court process. So legally, Jonathan is in. The door is open. But here's the question I want to ask today. I want you to think about it carefully before you drop your comment. Just because you are allowed to do something, does that mean you should do it? That is to you. Answer that question. Because the same insecurity that made millions of Nigerians vote Jonathan out in 2015 is still very much alive today. The same Boko Haram, the same kidnapping, the same farmer elders clashes, the same Northeast crisis, and some very serious analysts are saying something even more uncomfortable, that Jonathan is entering this race not for himself, but somebody else is pulling the strings, and that this whole comeback story is actually designed to benefit the other person, not Jonathan himself. So stay with me, because this story has more layers than most people realize. So welcome back to my channel. This is Adeoti Abayomi. We talk Nigerian politics. We go straight to the point. Very simple English. No propaganda, no sentiment. Just facts. Subscribe right now and turn on the post notification so you don't miss our video when we drop one. Today, we are doing a full breakdown of the Goodluck Jonathan 2027 story. The court ruling, the insecurity question, the sponsorship theory, and what all of it mean for Nigeria's democracy. Let's go. Section number 1. You know, we deal with section here. Who is Goodluck Jonathan and why are we even talking about him? So let me start from the beginning. In the beginning, because some younger viewers may not have full remembrance of who Goodluck Jonathan is. Now, Goodluck Jonathan served as Nigerian president from 2010 to 2015. He came into power after the death of late President Adeoti, and he completed his term. And then he won his own election fully in 2011. Okay, his presidency had real achievements: the rebasing of Nigeria's economy, the growth of Nollywood and entertainment, some infrastructural development, and his 2015 concession speech, where he called Buhari and congratulated him even before the votes were completely counted. That one alone was considered one of the most democratic moments in Nigeria's political history. But his presidency had serious failures. The biggest one was the one that defined his final year, and it ultimately cost him that particular election, and that was insecurity. Boko Haram reached their peak under Goodluck Jonathan. Analysts would have assessed his potential 2027 candidacy, directly questioned whether Jonathan would be able to address Nigeria's current security challenges, noting that the same security problems that defined his tenure are still very much present. So what is he coming to do? The Chibok girls adoption happened in 2014. 276 students, schoolgirls, were taken from their dormitory. The government's response was so slow and so inadequate that it sparked a widespread protest movement. Michelle Obama held up a sign. The whole world was watching, and Jonathan's presidency, he never recovered from that moment. The moment Michelle Obama got involved. He lost to Buhari in 2015. He left office, and for a while, he was gone from the political conversation entirely. Then something interesting happened. Buhari's government performed so badly, and Tinubu government has performed even more painfully. So Nigeria started looking back at Jonathan with nostalgia, and that nostalgia created an opportunity. Are you getting it? So let's go to section number 2. This morning court ruling, what that means for Goodluck Jonathan and for Nigeria. So this morning, the Federal High Court in Abuja delivered that ruling. It changed the legal picture completely for Goodluck Jonathan. Justice Peter Lifu dismissed the suit filed by lawyer John Mary Jideobi, who had argued that Jonathan should be disqualified because he had already been sworn in twice as president. The judge called the suit an abuse of court process, saying the issue of Jonathan's eligibility had already been settled by higher courts. He said, "I am bound by the above decision of the Court of Appeal, and this court, I have no more to add." The court also awarded a 20 million naira fine against the lawyer who brought the case, and an additional 1 million naira fine in the favor of the Attorney General of the Federation. Now, the constitutional argument against Jonathan was this: he was sworn in twice, once to complete Yar'Adua's term and once for his own full term in 2011. The Constitution says a president can only serve 2 terms, so he has already used both. Is that what you're saying? The courts have now said, no, his completion of Yar'Adua's term does not count for a full term. He is constitutionally eligible. So imagine he had won in 2011, or was it 2015? So the legal obstacle is gone. Jonathan can actually run. The question now is entirely political, and that is where it gets interesting. It leads us to section number 3. Your question is, why is he running? The insecurity problem is still there, so why is Goodluck Jonathan running? Now let me address the question raised directly, because it is the honest question in this whole conversation, right? The same insecurity that made Nigerians vote Goodluck Jonathan out in 2015 is he not still there? No, is he not still there? It's still there, and like in many more worse than what we used to see. Boko Haram still operates in the northeast. Bandits and kidnapping are still happening. People are being taken from school. Now, even in Oyo State, we covered the story just last week. Farmers, elder clashes is still destroying communities in the Middle Belt, and the military conducting airstrikes in Niger State, killing civilians. So, analysts are, directly questioning whether Jonathan would be able to address Nigeria's current challenges if he returned to office, because the problem that defined his presidency, they have not gone away. They are still here, and they've even become more stronger. Now, Jonathan's supporters here, they have an answer for all of this. They said, look at what came after him. Buhari was a military man, a former head of state, and he could not fix the security crisis either. Tinubu is a political strategist who has been in power for 2 years, and the insecurity is still everywhere. So why is Jonathan uniquely blamed for a problem that nobody has been able to solve? I hope you understand. So, and that argument, it has some truth in it. The insecurity in Nigeria is a structural problem that goes beyond just one president, right? It is about poverty, unemployment, weak institutions, porous borders, and a military that is underfunded and overstretched. We saw what happened with Justice Clark when he tried to, let's not go there. But here's the honest reality. When you go back to Nigerian voters and tell them, I want another chance, they are going to remember Chibok. They are going to remember 276 girls. They are going to remember the Jonathan administration early denied that anything serious had happened. And that memory is still very heavy. It's a very heavy political burden to carry into 2027. Section number 4, the sponsorship theory. Is Tinubu behind Jonathan's comeback? So that's what I want to talk about in this section. Now, let me get to the part of the story that people have been whispering, but nobody is clearly saying on camera, which is some analysts actually are suggesting that Jonathan's presidential ambition is not really just Jonathan's idea, that it is actually encouraged and possibly even funded by people who are going to benefit from him being in the race without winning it. Because let's face fact, Goodluck Jonathan cannot win. And when they say people, they are pointing in the direction of Tinubu's camp. Now, I want to be very careful here because I have no proof that Tinubu is directly sponsoring Jonathan. Nobody has produced the evidence or a financial arrangement of a political deal between Goodluck Jonathan and Tinubu's camp. So I am not going to make that claim. I'm just going to give you facts, and you can draw your own conclusion. So are we ready? Let me explain some facts. Let's take it one after the other. Fact number one: Niger Delta leaders, including ex-militant Tompolo, he visited Jonathan and urged him to drop his presidential ambition and support Tinubu's second term bid instead. Now, Tompolo is not a neutral figure. He runs a major security contract with the federal government. He is not somebody who acts independent of the federal government. So, that's fact number one. Fact number two: multiple analysts have said if Jonathan enters the race on PDP's platform, they could split opposition vote in a way that actually benefits Tinubu. Jonathan will take South away from Atiku and Peter Obi, another opposition candidate, without being strong enough to win himself. So think about that for a moment. Jonathan in the race does not beat Tinubu, but Jonathan in the race takes enough vote from the opposition that nobody else can beat Tinubu either. So fact number three: Kenneth Okonkwo, the Nollywood actor and a lawyer, and a strong political voice, you know that guy. He wants Jonathan to stay out of the race. His exact words were that those who nearly destroy his name now seek to use him again for their political interest. So I want to ask you a question: who nearly destroyed Jonathan's name? His political allies, some of whom are now in the Tinubu camp, right? Fact number four: Tinubu's own spokesman called Jonathan's potential candidacy delusion. He called it delusional, but analysts say that strong reaction actually reveals genuine fear in Tinubu's camp, not confidence. If Jonathan was truly not a threat, why respond at all? So why not just ignore him? Now, let's put four facts together. A former president whose candidacy splits opposition votes, who is being lobbied by Tinubu or Tinubu's allies to stand down, whose potential supporters are warning him that he is being used, and whose very mention causes panic to the ruling party. Does that sound like an independent candidacy to you? Or does that sound like a chessboard? Section number 5. What does Jonathan risk by running? Right? Now, let me talk about something that is not just about politics. It's about legacy. Right? Goodluck Jonathan left the office in 2015 with something very few Nigerian leaders have ever had. Genuine respect. Not universal respect, but real earned respect from people across party lines and across regions. Right? His concession call to Buhari before the results were even finalized was seen around the world as a moment of democratic maturity. In a continent where presidents cling to power, Jonathan let go. And that act of grace gave him something money cannot buy, which is a legacy. Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, he praised Jonathan's 2015 concession as a moment of democratic sacrifice, but urged him to make any future decision guided by conscience and national interest. Primate Elijah Ayodele warned that if Jonathan runs, his esteemed reputation might be damaged. He said Jonathan could be blindfolded by wrong advisors, and that if he loses, he will be embarrassed by his past. And the Anglican primate, the head of the Church of Nigeria, said it most directly. He said, "We don't want you to spoil the good name. Please keep off." Now, these are not political opponents talking. These are religious leaders, men of God, people who have no reason to lie to Jonathan or manipulate him. And they are all saying the same thing. The risk of running is not just losing. The risk of running is that a loss in 2027 in a messy, contested, expensive and defensive election could permanently erase the legacy of the 2015 concession or that the 2015 concession built. Jonathan spent years building that reputation. He could spend one election destroying it. So what's the bigger picture in all of this? Let me put it all together. Jonathan is legally cleared to run. The court said so this morning. He has supporters, especially in the north, who had nostalgia for his administration. It has grown since the coming of Buhari and Tinubu, the disappointment. He has the South base, right? And he has a name. The name and recognition that most candidates would die for. But here's the honest truth about Goodluck Jonathan that every Nigerian needs to actually talk about. The problem that ended his first presidency has not been solved. insecurity is even worse now. So the economy is worse. The trust between citizen and governance is worse. Running in 2027 means running into all those problems again, but this time without the goodwill as he had in 2011. And the political context around this candidacy looks suspicious. About people encouraging him and some of the people who are going to benefit from it, and the divided opposition. The people warning him about the independent voices who have nothing to gain from it. When you look at this whole thing, right, analysts are putting it plainly, right, that renewed interest in Jonathan's within the opposition circle could be strategic, potentially aimed at disrupting the opposition dominance and preventing any single candidate from building enough momentum to defeat Tinubu. So the final question I want to talk about is this: is Goodluck Jonathan really running because he genuinely believes he is the best person to face the Nigeria problem, or he is running because powerful people around him are convincing him that his time has come again? People who are actually going to benefit from his presence in the race, regardless of whether he wins or not. Maybe those are the people, right, that are behind this. But then only Jonathan, in his heart of heart, knows the answer to this thing. But the way Nigerian politics works, the answer matters more than people realize. I hope that he can see this and give us an answer. Just tell us what exactly is happening. But you guys, I want to hear from you. Yeah, do you think Goodluck Jonathan should actually run in 2027? Do you believe that there's a sponsorship theory, and that sponsorship theory is to use Goodluck Jonathan's candidacy to spoil the opposition votes and then help Tinubu get the easy win? Drop your honest answer here in the comment section. This is going to be one of the interesting comment section, right? You know me, I will always reply every single one of your comments. Today has been a big day in Nigerian politics. Jonathan declared, Atiku has clinched the ticket, and Mechi, he may be rejecting it. Even Aya today is rejecting the results. And 2027 race is officially getting more complicated and interesting. We are covering every single development right here on Adeoti Abayomi's channel every day. Make sure you have subscribed and the notification bell is turned on so that you never miss a video. Share this video with someone who needs to understand what's really going on in Nigerian politics right now. Like it so that more people can find it. I'll see you on the next one. As always, God bless Nigeria and God bless you.